So in today's War Thunder video, I'm actually going to show you guys something that I've been noticing over time, and then also some of my friends that even play War Thunder, Fanatical Freeman, if you're watching this, he always makes this mistake when it comes to using big caliber guns like the T-34, the IS-2, all these cannons which have a pretty long reload, but they have a pretty good amount of pen. And if you've not watched my weak spot series, it's a really good series to get started with the game. You can learn a lot about weak spots of lower tier tanks. You can learn about German. I have all of them in a playlist, so make sure to check them out before you watch this video. But if you watch all those and you understand the weak spots that you should go for, there's something to be said about sometimes weak spots are actually the worst thing that you can actually go for when it comes to certain tanks. And as you can see right here, we have a vehicle which is a T-34. This one has a 120mm cannon that has a pretty long reload for what it is, and you will see Panthers, you will see Panther 2s for example as well. There's one thing that I think a lot of players make is that you get so accustomed to just seeing like a Panther A or Panther G, and you're like, I need to go for the turret, I need to go for a weak spot. And sometimes because of how volumetric and all this sort of stuff works, it can actually be the worst place to go. So for example, let's say that you're trying to hit the little chevron right there where you've normally aimed with like a 76 Sherman or something. If you hit right here, you're not gonna really do that much damage, and sometimes it just won't even pin. Like if you get a little bit more to the left right there, which we'll show it in just a second, but as you can see here, if you hit right there, you don't even pin. So that's a huge issue when it comes to a tank like this, but there's a very easy solution. You have a crazy donkey cannon. This is 120mm, which means that instead of shooting for weak spots, which you should really do when it comes to Panthers, whenever it comes to Yag Panthers, when it comes to a Panther 2 even, is just go for the hole. If you go for the hole, you're going to go directly through it. You're going to hit majority of the crew. You're going to spall more, and it's just going to overall give you a better spalling because this is an AP round as well. You can do this stuff with the Centurions. You can do it with vehicles like the Charioteer. There's a lot of vehicles that can just go straight through the upper frontal plate of a Panther. The IS-2s even the ASU 85 can do it. You just really need to go and look and see which guns that you have and realize that sometimes it's actually better to take the non-weak spot that you would normally never aim for just because it's going to give you more reliable damage. Same thing goes for a vehicle like here, like the Tiger 2. I've seen so many people when it comes to the Jumbos where they would just start shooting towards the MG port, even though you have a long 88. The long 88, even from this range, can just go directly through a Jumbo. You don't have to aim towards the MG port anymore, and it's very important. And it's something I need to say is that, like, you need to know your gun, you need to know your tanks, you need to know the tanks that you'll also be facing, because whenever you see this sort of thing, I mean, for example, the T-30-45 over here, like, you would normally go for like the turret cheek so you'd be able to go through him, right? With the 88, with a long 88, you would probably just can go through the hole. Like, there's so many different little bitty things about the game that people just don't understand and that you just need to learn about because it's so key to see this. And also, let's just say you're playing the Tiger or something. These Panthers, once again, you can just go straight through the hole with them. So it's definitely one of those things that really needs to be talked about. It's not talked about enough because I see it's a very common mistake that I see even in my games. I'll be playing a Panther and I'll see like a T-34 and not the one that's got the 85. I'm talking about the 120, and he'll shoot towards the turret while he could have just went straight through the upper frontal plate and got a one shot instead of getting like my loader or not even pinning because of volumetric. All right, now we have the IS-2, and here's something I actually want to show you that's quite interesting about the 122mm cannon. You'll find this thing on the IS-3, you'll find it on the IS-2s, even some of the other things like the ISU 122s, right? So the thing is that this tank actually comes with 3 rounds. It comes with the 471, the 471B, and then the 471D. Majority of people, I'd probably say, runs the D shell just because it has a little bit more flat pin on it. But the thing about it is that there's actually something very interesting whenever it comes to the Panther 2. So it doesn't really matter what shell that you're running for the normal Panther back here. So for example, the Panther A, I mean, you can just see this up frontal plate, shoot it, go directly through it, right? So we have the D shell loaded. It's this one right here. So here's the stats for it and everything while we reload. But the thing about the D shell is that even though we're such close range to this Panther 2, since the Panther 2's hull is thicker than majority of the tanks, or like majority of the Panthers, right? It actually can't pin, which is actually kind of surprising. I mean, it has a chance of pinning, but most of the time it is just going to bounce. As you can see right there, it is going to bounce. Basically almost the exact same shot that we made on the Panther A over there, but this time it actually bounced. Now, if we go look at this BR471B round, it just slightly has a bit more 60-degree pin. So it has 86 versus 82. Because of that, basically that means that we could actually just go through the upper frontal plate of the Panther 2. Now, watch this. We're going to shoot directly where we shot again, and goes directly through with the B round. So that's definitely something to note. I know the Panther 2 is quite a rare vehicle now. You won't ever see it much, but I really think this is a very interesting fact that maybe you should know. And then also, I don't know, maybe you should take a couple of the B rounds just in case you find some heavily angled targets, and maybe you'll need to use it with an IS-2. But also, basically what this video is designing to like help you guys out is to think a little bit. So like, I'm not gonna be able to go over every single vehicle in the game, and like when it comes to what weak spots you should look for that are not common weak spots. But even a vehicle like this, the Super Pershing, which has the long 90 on it, and you can also find this exact same gun on the T-32s, you can find it on the M26E1, it can still do the same thing that the T-34 was doing, which is you can just go through the straight of a Panther. So now, you won't be able to do it the same to this guy, you'd still want to go for like the turret cheeks, but as you can see, there's just a ton of little bitty things that you should just know about the game. And knowing that can save you a ton. Like I've seen it before. Like as Fanatical Freeman, how many times he's like seen a Panther A and he's in like a T-34 or something, and he could have just shot in an area to where it's just going to go easily through it. I mean, it's going to help you a lot whenever it comes to AP rounds, especially. Like let's just say you're playing some of the French stuff. The French stuff can go directly through the Panthers, for example. And the more armor you're actually able to go through, the more that you're actually going to be able to do damage to them. And also, as you've seen right there, it's not the most reliable thing in the world whenever it comes to this 90mm, but it is possible. That's one thing that I also want to point out, is that while yes, you can do it, it can go directly through. As you see with that last shot before that one, it was a little bit iffy. So while you could make the shot, it's one of those things that you're going to have to do risk versus reward type of thing. But yeah, once again, Panther 2 over here will just be able to block it because of the upper frontal plate is a little bit better. And even with the Charioteer here, with a AP round, and it can even do it with its APDS, right? But this is about the only 20-pounder that you'll find in these battle rated brackets anymore, and it can still go directly through the upper frontal plate of the Panther. So this 6.3 right here, where you're going to see Panthers a ton of in this guy, it can still directly just go straight through it. I mean, you can still do it with the APDS if this gun was any bit accurate. I forgot this thing has, like, you know, APDS on it. But I mean, as you can see, you can do all kind of wonderful things with a tank like this, and just knowing what to do is going to help you out a ton. And then finally, the last thing that I do want to say about this is that none of these spots get rid of weak spots, right? So if you're still using a Sherman, if you're still using like a KV2 or something, or you're using like a KV1S, and you just see a lot of guys that have weak spots, you see Panthers and stuff, you can't just shoot for these areas. You're still going to have to know where to shoot when it comes to weak spots, like the sides of the turret. For the Panther 2 here, you have the sides of the turret right there where it's like a little bit flat area. But the thing is that it's really nice to know that a vehicle like this, an ASU 85, mind you, which has a 85mm cannon. I mean, there's a ton of vehicles which have bigger cannons than this thing, and can't do what this thing is about to do. It can just go straight through the upper frontal plate of the Panther. So if you know about that, you could abuse it, which is always just such a good thing. It's such a good thing to just have this random knowledge of information within a game, because whenever you're put into that situation of where you just have like 2 seconds to react, maybe you can't really get to this area to like shoot for a weak spot, and that's all you get is the gunner or something. But if you knew that, like, oh, I had this 85 right here, I know that I can just go directly through him right there, it's going to make battles just completely one-sided, because information within War Thunder is probably the biggest thing of how to get better at the game. If you know what all the tanks are, if you know what the weak spots are, if you know what your gun can do, if you know your reload, if you know the enemy's reload, it is going to be just hugely beneficial for you to just get better at the game, earn more RP, earn more SL. And that's basically how I played the game for a very long time. Just learn more, learn every day, and you will slowly over time get better and better and better at the game. But yeah, make sure to like and sub to the video if you found this information informative. And also, if you got into this part, make sure to go check out the other videos that I've did whenever it came to the weak spots, because I did these a ton, and this map right here I've created to actually show off some of the weak spots within the game. And well, I think it has served a lot of people very, very well at getting better in the game in general. But yeah, also make sure to put in the comments if you think that I've missed like one of these types of weak spots. Maybe I can learn something too. Maybe you guys can help teach me as well. But tell me if you know of a vehicle that you normally would have to go for a weak spot, but if you have a particular cannon, like if you have 100mm for the Soviets, or you have a 122, or the T-34's 120, that you normally would, or normally you would go for like a weak spot and you would go for a different area, please tell me, because I would love to know more of these. But yeah, it's very interesting to know all this sort of stuff. Hope everyone has a wonderful day, and we'll see you guys in the next War Thunder video.